I'm Chanel and today I'm doing my end of year tarot tags. This is something I started like 2 years ago to sum up my year of tarot practice as a whole. I have changed some of the prompts and added some since last year, so this is like the new and improved one. So if you want to participate, feel free. I do tarot and oracle decks, and I don't just include new decks only. I use the questionnaires over my whole collection rather than just the stuff that's new this year, but do whatever you want, guys. Like, adapt it for your own. So the first prompt is, which deck did you use the most this year? So for me, that deck is the Witch Cat's Oracle. I use this the most because this sits on my desk, and every single week I pull a cat as a sort of familiar for the week, and I put the card on my desk in front of my computer so that I see it every day and I'm reminded of it. So I read the message and what it's about, and that's sort of the energy of the week. I'm held by that, and because there's so many of them, I always get some variety out of it. So yeah, I need to have a cat on my desk every day. So this is the deck that I use consistently, week in, week out. Every Monday I sit down to begin work and I pull my cat familiar and put them in their place right in front of my eye line. So yeah, this is definitely the deck that I used the most this year. This is not a new deck, this is an older deck, and I keep thinking about getting the spirit cat to make it a mega deck. But I think that is, something down the line when I've gotten a bit more extra cash on hand. I probably will go ahead and add that one to my collection as well. But yeah, the deck I use the most. The next prompt is the deck you didn't use at all. So yeah, this is a deck I just didn't use at all. And the biggest reason for that, Spirit Allies deck, is because it just doesn't go with a lot of stuff. So it's got a beautiful back, it's got shiny gilding. This is a mass market deck. I love Jill Pyle. I have another deck I use a lot, I use monthly, is the one about periods. Oh my god, I don't know why I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put a picture up above. I use it all the time. So I just bought this straight away. And look, I do love the guidebook. So in the guidebook, you have a statement, you've got about whatever the object is, the message, and then a journal prompt. So I think it's done really well. It's just, the illustration style isn't really for me. It's very cartoonish, and I don't really like that. It also uses quite a lot of primary colors or very bold colors, and yeah, I just struggle to find something to pair this with. If you have a tarot deck that you think pairs well with this visually, do let me know what that is. But that's the reason why I haven't used it much, and I don't know, it might be a deck that I end up rehoming at some point. If I don't use it again at all next year, then yeah, I don't see the point keeping it in my collection, because it is just a mass market deck. It's not an indie deck. And I do want to make sure that all the decks that are in my collection are paying their rent, so to speak. They're being used. They're not just taking up space. I do love it, but yeah, it's just, I haven't used it, and I might have a play with it now, just so I've used it this year. But this is the deck I have definitely used the least in 2024. So the next prompt is, what is your most recent addition? So I am still meant to get a deck possibly in December. I pre-ordered it on Amazon. Never ever again am I pre-ordering. It's already out. I could have just bought it, but I don't want to go through the hassle of trying to cancel my order and get a refund and then purchase again. So yeah, it's slated to come anywhere by the 30th of December. So if I do get it, and I've put the picture up above, that's my most recent edition. But otherwise, it's this one in here, which is the Echoes Through Time. So this was an indie deck. Those are the backs. Mine did come a little bit bowed. And yeah, it's a sort of collage of like old-timey individuals in modern settings. And I just really liked the aesthetic of it. I do like that sort of classical art compared with modern environments. So I am really happy with it. I wish that it did come with a guidebook. It has this little pamphlet with a keyword, but the PDF, the guidebook is a PDF, and I just don't use it. Even though there's a QR code in there, I just don't like going on my phone when I'm doing tarot. Tarot is a very sort of organic, non-tech experience for me. So I just don't use the guidebook. But otherwise, you know, I do know tarot anyway, so I can just apply my own meanings. But yeah, I really love the aesthetic of this. This one makes me lol every goddamn time. Work the pole, dude. So yeah, this was my most recent edition. It came, like, once again, it's got some humor in there, which I really appreciate. It came in November, and I've enjoyed working with it. It's got a bit of a dark humor vibe. That's what I would call it, you know, like darkly funny, a bit of like British humor going on. But yeah, Echoes Through Time is my most recent edition. The next prompt is a deck that isn't your usual style. So for me, that would have to be the Unused. I don't know how to pronounce it. This is a mass market deck. It's got lovely copper edges. And yeah, this is not absolutely not my usual style, in that the illustration style is, like I said, once again, it's very sort of cartoonish, and I don't say childish, but it's definitely got a more younger feel to it. These pictures would be right at home in a picture book for children. It's also got massive borders, which is not something I normally like, and it's got a quote on the front. But this book was an unexpected surprise. Okay, so I went outside of my comfort zone for this. I just was trying to reach free shipping and I got this deck because I was ordering, I think, one of the Seasons of Letha, whatever, you know, oracles. And so I just added it to try and reduce the shipping. And I was like, okay, wow, like the readings were lovely. It was a beautiful little oracle that I thought the way that it's written up in the guidebook was really lovely as well. I thought it was just really well done, and it was very unexpected. So I was absolutely pleasantly surprised. I like the quality of it too for a mass market deck. It's, I think, definitely one you could do in a child work with, but it reads just fine as a regular oracle on its own. But yeah, visually, this is not my aesthetic whatsoever. But yeah, I think it's adorbs. It's staying in my collection. I've enjoyed it every time that I have bought it out. So yeah, this was out of the ordinary for me, and it's the Unused. Okay, the next question is your favorite deck pairing. I'm sorry if the audio's off. I'm sitting really far away. So for my favorite deck pairing, I've chosen a tarot and an oracle. So in here, we've got the Sistine Tarot. This is an indie deck. Sorry, that was Sylvie. She's having a bit of a chat. And in this bag over here, we have got the Cosmic Pearl Oracle, which is also an indie deck. This one has beautiful blue edging, and this one had the copper, in case I forgot to show it. I'll just cut this down. There we go. It's a bit better. So I just love these together. They've got such a romantic kind of aesthetic, energy. It's very feminine. Let's take that card out of there. It's sensual. I find both of them to be very Venusian, and I think that they just speak to each other gorgeously. All right, so here we go. So I think these decks are just such a great pair. They've both got a very sort of feminine energy to them, very sensual, very sort of Eve and Venus-like, quite romantic, like utterly romantic. We've got pearls and roses. I mean, can you get any more romantic than that? Oops, a daisy. Took too many cards. Yeah, I just loved their vibe. It's like they were sisters, you know. It almost reminds me too of like Virgin Suicide's movie aesthetic as well. This very like daydreamy, Midsummer Night's Dream, ladies frolicking in a meadow, you know, doing beauty rituals or lighting effigies on fire. Very like priestess, prophetess, seeress, connected to nature, but especially watery. I feel like these are very watery decks. And there is this kind of like languid opulence to them. But yeah, I love these together, and I enjoyed my time using both of them. It's, yeah, certain kind of moods, like very Libran energy as well, I would associate with these, although this one has a touch of Scorpio, you know, maybe Libran's Scorpio cusp situation is going on. But they're very sumptuous. It's like velvet, you know, very velvety just like rose petals, but also still tough like a pearl, full of that feminine wisdom and wiles. So yeah, this was the Sistine Tarot and the Cosmic Pearl Oracles. We have your favorite deck mod, so bag, accessory that you've either bought or made. And so I'm just showing you the bag for this one. So this is a bag that I made for the adventure-based magic oracle. I just love the colors in this. I think they're so beautiful. I did it in a Trinity stitch, which is one of my favorite stitches to use for bags. And I've got this beautiful glittery button on here, and it just came out really well. This is a cashmere blend yarn as well, so it's super cushy. And I'm just obsessed with the way that the colors worked up with the yarn and then pairing it with the button. It's just beautiful, and I love the color story in it. So this is definitely my favorite bag that I have crocheted this year. The next question is, what are your favorite deck backs? So the back of the card. I appreciate a good behind, ain't gonna lie. So we've got the Forest Tales Oracle by Cosmic Valeria. So this is a indie deck, and look guys, just can you appreciate that? So on this card you've also got foiling for the star. Look at that, the stars and the moon. It's a dark cottagecore sumptuous vibe. You have flora and fauna in there, and I'm obsessed. Like, it's very maximalist, but as soon as I saw these deck backs, I didn't even give a fuck what the rest of the deck looked like. I'm like, yeah, I'm buying it for the back alone. I want it. I want that picture so badly. Like, even if I hate the deck, I'll just use these as bookmarks, bro. So yeah, these are some of my favorite backs of all time, and I am utterly obsessed with them. Beautiful quality satin with the embossing, because yeah, the foiling is embossed as well. So my favorite deck backs belong to the Forest Tales Oracle. So my next prompt is a deck with a great theme. So you can take that prompt however you will. For me, I've chosen Adventure Time Tarot because I fucking love Adventure Time Tarot. It's one of my favorite TV shows, and so having a deck, this is a playing card deck. I've also got the Adventure Time Tarot deck, but I've shown that plenty of times on here, so I thought I'd just show this one. But yeah, this is a theme of the show, so naturally I love it. I get to see all of my favorite characters on display here, and it really speaks to my inner child, and it's just so fun. It makes playing games even that more delightful because you've got obviously the card game you're playing, but then you get to feast your eyes on these little vignettes, these little scenes from something that brings you a lot of joy and takes you back to a simpler, more fun-filled time. So I thought they did really well with the pictures that they chose for the cards. This is a bit battered because we have actually been using it. But yeah, it's a delight, I think, for all ages, and I can't go past an adventure time themed anything, to be honest. So this is my favorite theme deck for this year, and it's the Adventure Time playing cards. Okay, the next question is a deck you fell in love with. So you've already seen the bag for it. Hands down, it was the evidence-based magic oracle. So this is an indie deck. Look at these backs. These could also have been my favorite backs of the year. I think they are absolutely to die for. It's got gold hollow gilding. It's on this beautiful matte swishy cardstock, and I'm so obsessed. I'm so obsessed. This is probably also one of the decks that I have used the most this year because I kept this out. I did not put it away once the month had ended. I just wanted to keep pulling out these bits of art. I'm obsessed with this creator's artwork. I think she's currently selling postcards with her art, but I'm sort of holding out to see if she ends up turning those art into another deck, because I would absolutely buy another deck from them. It's just, oh my God, it's so gorgeous. It's got this sort of galaxy cyberpunk vibe. It's very fantastical. I love the use of color. It's a little bit grotesque. It's a little bit weird and unsettling. But like I said too, I think this would be a fantastic deck for creative writing, for prompts. It's very inspiring, and I feel like each of these little cards is their own little world, and you could make incredible stories from them. She also put out, for the people that bought the deck, an online version So where you just, you just shuffle a card. It's an online thing. You just scroll through. I'll put a little thing up above if I remember. And you can pick a card from the day on the go. And I actually do use it. Sometimes when I'm just out and about and I'm at a cafe or whatever it is, and I thought, I just want some guidance, I pull one of these digitally. And it, like I said, it's just a feast for the eyes. It just feeds my soul because I'm absolutely in love with this aesthetic and this style of art. It is perfection to me. I'm so obsessed. And if I was super, super wealthy, I would absolutely commission my own artwork to be able to hang in my home because, I die for all of the images in here. There's not a single card in here that I'm like, I don't like that. Not one. And that is so rare that there's not even just one card I don't like. I love every single one of them. Look at this chicken, bro. I don't even like chickens, but in this I do. And I love the names. They're very interesting. Here we've got Psych Fusion. Recovery is basic, but the rest of them were really interesting. But this deck, I am absolutely obsessed with it. I love it so much. So this is one of my all-time decks ever. Like the house is burning down. You say 5 decks. This is one of the 5. It's the Evidence-Based Magic Oracle. The next prompt is a deck that you wish existed or an out-of-print deck. So I'm just going to answer both so, people can see the options. So for me, for a deck I wish existed, I would choose a Måneskin deck. As you know, I am a massive fan of Måneskin. I love them to death. I love their music. I think you could make really interesting cards based on their songs, whether in the title or from a lyric. The band themselves have a fantastic aesthetic. I love their style. It's over the top and extravagant and rock and high fashion and pop and romantic and edgy and slutty, let's be real. So I think a deck based on them, whether it's photographic or whether it is art rendered, I would love it. I would absolutely love it. So a deck, a Måneskin deck, 100%. I wish that existed. And then we've got an out of print deck. So for me, I've got my list obviously of unicorn decks. One of the latest ones I've added to it is Are You in the Room Tarot. So I've seen this a lot, I think mostly on, I want to say Rose Honey Ritual, possibly to Pure Red Velvet, like one of those ladies for sure. I think Meg for sure. And I love it. I think it's really cool. I love like the variants in the cards, and I think that they stand alone, some of them as art in and of themselves. So I'm still holding out hope that maybe one day there'll be another print run of this particular deck. We shall wait and see. But Are You in the Room Tarot is out of print deck that I would love to get my hands on one day. So the next prompt is there's 2 options for this as well. So like I said, do one, do both, your choice. We've got a card that sums up this year or a card that you like. So for the first part of the question, a card that sums up this year, you can either just choose your own card that you feel this year's energy correlated with, or you can pull a card, like as in do a reading and talk about the card that comes up and how you feel it relates to the year that you've had. So I'm just going to use my own tarot deck to pull the card out. So this is my Deathly Flowers Persephone themed tarot deck. And I had to think a bit about this because this year was definitely a mixed bag for me. It definitely had its highs and lows, but I thought, okay, what's the overall energy that you felt this year? And it is the 7 of Pentacles, or the 7 of Coins, or in this case, the 7 of Pomegranates, 7 of Earth. So for me, like the 7 of Pentacles generally represents patience, investment, hard work, and reflection. So this year has definitely been one of a lot of hard work for me in terms of my health, my love life, my spiritual growth, and my finances. I've really felt like I've been putting in the hard yards, and it hasn't been an easy road. I felt like I've come across a lot of challenges and obstacles, and I've had to just use perseverance to get through, and to really also like manage my resources in regards to everything. Like it's taken concerted effort and calculation and evaluation and assessment. And I feel like I'm at the precipice of realizing the fruits of my labor. Like I'm almost there. I feel like all of this time and energy and resources that I've been putting into all these areas of my life are finally starting to yield some results. Maybe not so much in the love life area. I feel like part of that is out of my hands, but I've come to a point of peace with that. Like I've put all the work in, and now I'm like, you know what? I've done everything I can, and I think it's time to just stand back and let the seeds germinate. Like I've done the hard work. I've plowed the field. I've planted the seeds. I've watered them. And sometimes I think with the 7, you have to remember to see how far you've come, like to stop, put your spade down, and actually look at, you know, how your garden is growing, and take a broader view and step back a bit, because I can be a bit, what's the word, hyper fixated. Like I could have my nose in the book, you know, just grinding through. Sometimes I forget to stop and take a breather and step back and just catch my breath, you know, because yeah, it's a slow and steady process, and that's something that I do struggle with. I want instant results. I can be very impatient when it comes to accomplishing my goals and getting things done, and so I can headbutt sometimes with life, when life is like, no, this is something that you are going to have to accept, that there are no shortcuts in this. You know, you have to do the hard yards, you have to play the long game, and trust that the rewards are going to be worth the effort that you've put in. So yeah, I feel like I'm at the precipice. I'm turning a corner now. Like I've been, just like I said, putting in so much effort, and I'm just starting to see the fruits of my labor, you know. So, and I put here in my card, I've got Marilyn Monroe working out, building that muscle on a bit of money. So yeah, we'll see what happens in all the areas of my life that I feel like I've been really trying to improve. But so yeah, it's been a 7 of coins year for me. A lot of lessons learned, but a lot of hard work and dedication. And then the second one is a card that you like. So it's literally just whatever card image you really enjoy. So I'm using the Journey Tarot for this one. This is an indie tarot deck. There was one card for me that was the absolute deciding factor in purchasing this deck. I just thought, yeah, I have to have this deck so I can have this card. And for me, it is the Death card. I am obsessed. I'm obsessed. I love this art style, first of all, but I love the coloring in this. I think it is so striking visually. I love that they've got the moths, whether they're lunar moths, I'm not sure. And they've got the woman there who's also, it looks like she is in a cocoon and she's about to burst forth and have the transformation, and she's situated in space, which is just this ever expanding process and just state of the uniform transforming and growing and changing. So I absolutely love this card. I think it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite depictions of the Death card, and yeah, it's from the Journey Tarot. So tarot practice. Let's start with, this year was meant to be a low buy year for me. So I only came into tarot and oracle decks in, I think, June of 2022, I believe. So it's been about 2.5 years, I think, that I've been slinging cards. And so the first 2 years of that, well, first, I guess, 1.5 years, I was on a mass accumulation spree. I was just buying everything and anything to try and figure out what I like, what works for me, what doesn't. So I amassed a massive amount of decks, okay? Over 100 decks in that time. And I started this year feeling like I did not want to continue on at that rate. I definitely wanted to slow down. I believe I initially had the aim of only purchasing 12 decks this year. So I've just counted, and I ended up purchasing a total of 21 decks. So it didn't really stick to my goal of 12. But I look, compared to, you know, amassing 160 decks in 1.5 years, buying only 21 decks in 1 year, I think is a massive improvement. And I am going forward with it. So once again, I am hoping just to continue to do low buy, ideally no more than 12 decks a year, because I am at a point where I'm reaching maximum physical capacity. I don't want to have to buy more furniture just to house decks. It also, too many decks gives me overwhelm. I have a thing with my possessions that I want to use them. I don't like anything sitting in cupboards not being used. I just don't like that kind of energy. So I always try to have only things in my house that I know I'm putting my hands on at least at some point every year. So yeah, I don't really want a lot more. Like now I think my collection is about 181, which is a huge amount. So if, like, going forward, 12 decks a year is also probably hoping that I'm also going to be rehoming as well. So that I'm not just continuing to accumulate 12 decks every year, because I'll end up reaching a point where I do have to buy more furniture to store things. So yeah, I feel like, you know, I probably could end up rehoming, you know, 6 to 12 decks a year as well. So hopefully it'll balance out. Like, I've got like room for maybe like 250 decks max, but I'd rather not get there that quickly. So I am definitely going forward with that, because I do also just want to be really more intentional with my purchases, because they cost money. I do believe that if I had infinite financial resources and I had a massive house, I would buy every deck, every single deck. There is not a deck I wouldn't buy because I'd be like, I've got all the money and I've got all the space. So why not try everything? I don't like it, I'll re-gift it, move it on, you know? So I know that's how I would be, but I'm like, that's not the reality. So the reality is, yeah, you know, limited resources and space. So I need to be more selective in what I'm bringing into my house. Also too, I have definitely slowed down with my tarot practice. I'm not ravenously slinging cards all day long. I would spend, you know, every day, every single day, doing tarot and oracle pulls and things. And after doing that so intensely for, you know, over a year and a half, I don't feel the need for it anymore. Also too, I think because my life is very quiet right now, it's very simple, it's very repetitive, it's much of the same every single day. I don't find a lot of need to pull cards because I'm not having these like sort of emotional situations. I'm not having like new people coming into my life. There's nothing really changing anything. So I've reached like a status quo. So I just don't need to ask for guidance as much as I used to in the past. So for that as well, because I'm not slinging cards as much, I'll get a new deck out, which is now a mass market deck. Because yeah, I'm not actually pulling cards every single day. I don't need to buy more decks as well. So yeah, I have backed off a bit with my tarot practice just because, like I said, I don't feel the need so much. I normally use tarot as a self-reflection tool or for guidance, and sometimes just writing in my diary is enough of a self-reflection. If I'm not needing to really unpack anything complex, you know, I'm just writing about how I felt today and I don't really need to do any further deeper evaluation of that, then I don't really feel the need for pulling these. Obviously, whenever I get a new deck in, I do like to play with it for that week intensively, daily, just so I can get a feel for that deck and its character and its personality, and if I want to keep it in my collection. So, but because, yeah, I am only now getting in like maybe 2 decks a month, yeah, I'm spending about 2 weeks out of a month pulling cards. So yeah, I've just pulled back a little bit at the moment. I don't think it's something I'll ever stop doing. I still find a lot of joy and comfort in cards, but yeah, it's just not the main hobby of mine at the moment. I'm very into reading again, like the reading, and because I have a book channel as well, like it's an inferno. It's a blazing inferno, and I'm actually probably burning myself out on that one a bit too much, kind of like how I did with this. But I'm a hyperfixation person, so I'm not gonna like feel sad about that. I think it's great that I get so passionate and into things. But yeah, I'm still into tarot, obviously, but just not as much as I used to be. So yeah, that's been my tarot practice, I guess, for the year. I don't really pull daily, and I'm not accumulating a lot of new decks. I still think 21 decks is still a lot for 1 year, but in comparison, it's greatly reduced. And like I said, going forward, possibly even less. Although, guys, there are still Kickstarters that I backed over a year ago that have not arrived. There's 2 of them, and I'm just, that's something, you know, like waiting almost 2 to 3 years for decks. It's a long time, babes. But yeah, especially like these days, what I do now is if there are decks that really interest me, I put them on a list. And I am letting them sit on that list until I get to a month. If I go to a month and I haven't purchased anything, that's when I might be like, all right, pick one of the decks to purchase. Because like I said, want to get around 12 per year. So I've got plenty. There are plenty of decks that I saw and I wanted and I liked, but I made tough calls. You know, I was like, no, but they're there. And yeah, they may end up entering my collection at some point, because I think too with Tarot and Oracle, sometimes there are months where whatever is released in that month doesn't appeal to you. It doesn't. So that way you can go back to a previous month where maybe there were a few that you liked and choose one of them. So I've got my list there, and we'll see if I end up picking any of those. Obviously this year I just ended up, buying the new mass market or indies that caught my eye, and I didn't have months where I didn't purchase anything, so I could go back to the list where there were multiples. But yeah, I've got that list ready and waiting. But yeah, that's my tarot practice reflection for this year. And the final prompt is pull a card for the new year or a deck you want to use in the new year. So I'm going to do both. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start with, we'll go through this one while I'm doing the first prompt. So this is the Cozy Witch Tarot deck, and I'm going to pull a card for the new year from here. These are the backs. This is mass market. I edged mine. So a deck that I want to work with next year is my pre-order deck. So Find Your Magic Tarot. Obviously that's coming, but if I'm going to pick something else, because I've already mentioned that, I'm really hoping that I get to work with the Victorian Fairy Tarot. So this is one of the tarot decks that I mentioned. I backed on Kickstarter eons ago. It literally feels like it's been 84 years since I backed this deck. It's not been shipped yet. Oh my God, like, yeah, look, I'm working on my patience. Like, I'm not a super patient person, but this one, yeah, this deck has definitely tested my patience. It's just, my God, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I might die before I ever get this deck. That does cross my mind sometimes when I back something on Kickstarter. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be alive in like 6 months to a year's time. Like, my kids don't care that much about tarot and oracle, and I'd feel sad if I back something and never got to actually physically experience it. And that's how I feel about the Victorian Fairy Tarot. So I am hoping that it bloody comes next year. Oh my God, if I go through another whole year and I just still don't have it, yeah, I'm going to be really upset. I'm not going to be happy, Jan. It's going to taint the deck for me. I'll always be reminded of the excessively long wait. But look, fingers crossed. Yeah, all of us that have backed that deck get it next year. But that is the deck I'm most looking forward to working with. I was so excited when I heard they were reprinting it, because that was a out of print deck for me, a unicorn deck. And so I jumped on that Kickstarter quick smart, and I just did not anticipate it would be taking so long. I know they've had hiccups with their printing, but yeah, that's definitely the longest deck that has taken to come to my collection from Kickstarter. But now I'm going to pull a card. So once again, you can either just do a shuffle for the new year, or you can pick a card specifically saying, I want a Knight of Cups 2025. I think that would be a fantastic card to get for 2025. Let's see what we get. I'm going to tempt fate. Otherwise, look, for my personal diary, I have put in the Sun card as my energy I want for next year. I just want fun and positivity and vitality and health and wealth and happiness. 2025, bro, I'm feeling good about it. Like, the last 4 years have been something, it started with my divorce and cervical cancer and relationship, and then breakup, and then deaths of grandparents. It's been a full-on time. The pandemic, obviously, oh my God, don't forget that. So yeah, loss of a job because of the pandemic. Anyway, I digress. The last 4 years have been certainly something. So I just feel like, okay, 2025, it's a number 5. That is a significant number for me. I was born at 5 p.m. I was named after Chanel number 5, because that's what my mum was wearing. I was born in 1985. My daughter was born on the 5th. My other daughter was born on the 25th of the 15th. So I've got a lot of 5. So I feel like 2025, I'm turning 40 in 2025. So surely, bro, it's all going to come to fruition, and it's going to be a great year for the collective, for everyone. That's what I'm praying for everyone to have a Sun card year, man. And no matter what other things happen, that Sun card is going to shine its radiance and everything and turn everything positive. So let's have a shuffle. 2025 for me, what is the energy? Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles. Slowly but surely you're going places. This is I did say this year was the 7 of Pentacles. Sorry. I'm just laughing. Sometimes universe has a sense of humor. 7 of Pentacles, and I felt like I was slow progress, and I was like, can we please speed this up? And the universe is still like, pump the brakes, bro. Hold your horses. Let's read. Opening their magical box of herbs, the knight asks, see anything you might want to add to your cauldron? For years they've been diligently walking this trail, and during that time, they've become known as the one and only person to go to for all your spell ingredient needs. This card can represent a teenager or a young adult, or a person of any age who's responsible as well as reliable. Their moves may be more gradual than most, but that's deliberate, because they know that's how one effectively establishes themselves. Everyone else should take notes, because they're well on their way to being successful as hex. If this is you, just keep doing what you're doing. Yep. Well, look, it's confirmation that feeling I had, that everything, all the hard work I've been putting in and all of the consistent, determined effort will pay off. Like, just slowly but surely. The tortoise wins a race, right? So I'm just that tortoise. I just got to keep my pace and take it one step at a time. I know I'm going to hit that finish line eventually, and just enjoy myself along the way. Just believe that I'm on the right path, that I am doing what I need to do to get where I want to go. Because I'm going places, baby. I'm going places. So I'm quite happy with that. You know what I mean? I'm like, yep, that's fine. I'll just keep up the good work, my friends. So that is everything for this. But yeah, like I said, guys, add your own prompts, change prompts, do whatever you feel like. But I am just wishing everybody a fantastic, fucking phenomenal 2025. Thank you for being part of this amazing community. I seriously will never stop waxing poetic about how wonderful the human beings are that are part of this online tarot community. It was the first online community I ever became a part of, and I felt so welcomed and I felt so safe and seen and heard here, and it continues to be the case. And even if I don't end up slinging tarot cards anymore, I'm still going to pop in so I can see how everybody else is going, and I can check in with everybody because you're all darlings and I adore all of you. And until next time, stay wild, star child.